her left arm does so much work, because the whole time she's got like the mic in the right hand and then the left arm is pointing and indicating and bringing in and pushing out. The event of the cinematic year is not really a movie. I mean, it is, but it's, it's the Taylor Swift, the ERAS tour, the concert film, probably one of the highest grossing concert tours of the year, and now probably also one of the highest grossing movies of the year, if this weekend is any indication. Christy and I went and saw it. For your edification, let's talk about it.
This has been the most extraordinary experience of my entire life.
I disagree that it's not a film. I think it's totally cinematic.
You know what I mean. Yes,
I don't.
It is. It is. Okay, it's not being released by a major studio.
Right.
It's a thing that her company and AMC put together, and now it's going out to other theaters. So, I mean, it is and it isn't, and it's a lot of different things.
The craft on display is very impressive.
Oh, yeah. No. In no shade to the actual cinematic qualities or, like editing, sound, all that stuff. It's there. Yes.
Okay. So before we begin, you got to subscribe, because we contain multitudes here at Breakfast All Day. In the span of like 48 hours, we will have discussed Killers of the Flower Moon, Anatomy of a Fall, and now the Taylor Swift, the ERAS Tour movie. So get you a film critic who can do all of it, as Taylor can do all of it. Join us for all of our eras here at Breakfast All Day. So yes, this is a filmed version of 3 nights of her ERAS Tour concert series here in LA at SoFi Stadium, where the Rams and the Chargers play. And so Sam Wrench shot over 3 nights. And what is so amazing here, that there are cameras everywhere, like literally everywhere, and you don't see a single one of them. It's a miracle. And so what he's been able to do here is capture both the enormity and the intimacy of these shows. Now, like, she sold out 6 nights of SoFi. The whole tour was sold out, like, across the country. So if you could not,
the globe.
if you could not get tickets, which a lot of folks could not, or maybe they were just prohibitively expensive, and understandably so, this is a great way to go and experience that. I mean, yes, the tickets are more expensive than your average movie ticket, and they are very specifically priced at $19.89 for adults and $13.13 for kids. Very cute.
Yes.
But a lot cheaper than it would be to go and see in the theater. So it's almost 3 hours long. It takes you through all of her eras. And what's amazing to me over and over again is her ability to be this ever-evolving superstar and yet maintain that core authenticity, right? That no matter what era she's in, no matter what incredibly gorgeous, sparkly costume she's in, and I want to get to the costume design, that she always conveys that she is like your BFF and your soulmate. And there's like a consistency to her that creates a through line for all of it. So I think even if you don't love her music, you've got to appreciate just the showmanship on display, the hustle, the joy of creation, the joy of collaboration with her dancers and her band behind her. So it's really fun just as a technical spectacle. Yes. It is really, really fun. Now, if you are a hardcore Swiftie, you'll be delighted because all of it is there. Like all the giant ubiquitous earworms like Bad Blood and Shake It Off, which I could never hear again and be totally fine.
I'm totally the opposite with you on that one, but we'll get there.
We'll get to that. So I love Evermore and Folklore. I think those are the ones where like the real depth and transcendent strength of her songwriting really shines through. Like maybe you're not a fan of this kind of music, but no matter who you are, you have to admire how vivid her storytelling is. And especially on Folklore and Evermore, they're like about characters who she created that all interact with each other. You know, there's always like the bleeding of fiction and reality of like, ooh, which song's about an ex-boyfriend and which song's about a fictional character. And so that's part of the allure here.
Dave and I were saying there will eventually be like the sing-along version, you know, for the home video release. But I said there should also be the little footnote version telling you this is about her breakup with, you know.
Right. Well, she goes from a Harry Styles song into a Jake Gyllenhaal song. So if you know, you know. You don't.
I don't know.
I know just enough to be dangerous.
I need footnotes. My friend who came with me was like, oh, this is the diss track about Kanye and Kim. That was all I got.
Oh, that's so funny. So I had a blast, but admittedly, like I was looking forward to this. I went with a mom friend of mine who is like a lot younger than me and knew every word to every song as she sang along. So she was psyched. And she's actually watching it again right now with her daughter as we are recording this. So I had fun. But my theater, I don't know about you, my theater was not like the ear-splitting fiasco that I expected it would be. Maybe because I'm in a more sedate place here in like quasi-suburbia. There's a lot of little kids like getting up and dancing during Reputation especially, which I'm like, young ladies, how do you know all these dance moves? So that was kind of fun to see that, but it wasn't like the frenzy that I thought it would be. What about for you?
Yeah, I went in to Burbank, and the theater that I went to had it on like multiple screens, and I was not in like the big IMAX screen or the big Dolby screen, so maybe those were more packed. This was about 2/3 full on opening Friday night, and the crowd was fairly subdued. They all got up during all of 1989.
Oh, how
like,
funny.
That whole section, they were up and dancing and into it, and then they sat down again, and then they all got up again for like the last song from the most recent album,
Karma.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so those were the times they were really into it. Like a couple people had the little light wands they were selling. That all the theaters are like selling all these sort of like accoutrements to give you that concert experience. And of course, AMC loves a souvenir popcorn bucket.
Did you get one?
No, but I made the joke that it was popcorn, Taylor's version.
That's cute.
So yeah, okay. So I walked into this thinking, I know like maybe 2.5 Taylor Swift songs, and I love thinking, okay, I know maybe 4 or 5 Taylor Swift songs. One of them is Shake It Off. That's the one I really like. So like, that's how basic bitch I am. I know the hit, and I loved that part. I thought it was great. And in fact, I think I'm with you on like, yes, the camera work, the editing, the costumes, the video projection that's being used, the stage hydraulics, all very impressive and very entertaining. But like pacing wise, as a non-fan, like to me, the 1989 part should have been the end, because like that seemed like the biggest sort of audience surge of excitement that happened. And then that happens, and then we go right into the acoustic set, and then we have a whole other album to cover. And I'm like, okay, this is starting to feel a little long. Like, I don't want to hear any complaints about Killer Moon from people who sat through this or Avengers Endgame. Like, if you could do, if your bladder could handle these movies, you could also do Scorsese. I promise you.
Yeah. So are you now a fan of hers? Like, you didn't really know a whole lot before. Do you walk out now appreciating her differently?
I appreciate her, absolutely. I mean, I think my thing has always been with both her and Beyonce, like, I admire what you do as artists and as entrepreneurs and as just like women who are setting their own course and like constantly defying expectations and making, carving out new career pathways. But like, I don't listen to a lot of 21st century music, to be honest. I have an embarrassing amount of easy listening in my repertoire. So, like, talk to me about, bossa nova. But the new stuff, I'm like, sure, fine, it's great. But I could see why the audiences in the stadiums were losing their minds, and I could see why the people in the theaters are so enthusiastic. So it's like, I'm not going to run out and buy any of these albums, but I get the appeal of it. You mentioned It's All There. It's actually not all there.
That's true. There's some things I would like to have heard.
Yes.
I wanted to hear Cardigan. I wanted to hear No Body, No Crime with Haim, because they were on tour with her and did those shows in LA. Like, that would have been cool. Yeah,
The Archer. Like Chris Willman did a piece in Variety where he went to, I think, all the SoFi shows and sort of delineated what's there. And I know that means that when we get the streaming version, the Blu-ray version, it's going to be like the enhanced that has now more stuff in it. Like in the pre-show, there was an ad for the 1989 Taylor's version that's coming to Tangerine Vinyl at Target.
Yeah.
And that's got a bonus track on it. So they're very cagily, I'm sure, going to re-implement those songs. And that's great, because I think if you're enough of a fan that you want to buy this at home, you want it to be 3 hours long. And if you were a non-fan, I think 168 minutes might be a little much, but I did come away just impressed with the splendor of it all, the couture outfits, the Louboutin boots,
right?
The
Versace bodysuits,
exactly. Like, she's not a dancer per se, but she's a performer.
Yeah.
Like, she acts out those songs. She is giving you the emotionality. Her left arm does so much work, because the whole time she's got like the mic in the right hand and then the left arm is pointing and indicating and bringing in and pushing out. And I'm like, okay, that's, I'm tired watching you for 3 hours. I don't know how you do this 3 nights a week, but good on you, lady.
So what was cool about this, though, which I think this can achieve in a way that the actual live experience cannot, is just how up close and personal it is for the emotion of like her 10-minute rendition of All Too Well, which is a big emotional, like rueful, rageful song. And even if you saw it live, which I'm sure the energy is incredible, like you can't get as close as the cameras do in every facial expression of that. And also Champagne Problems on the mossy covered piano, like Betty in the folklore cabin was a really emotional high point, I thought. And again, like it's because they're so close, and you can appreciate like the mic changes for every era, right? You can appreciate the exquisite beading and jewel work on the bodysuits and there's everything like that. Like, so in some ways this is kind of preferable. It's not the overwhelming communal experience of the concert, but we talked about Stop Making Sense recently and how groundbreaking that was, and how for so long that was considered like the concert film. But both these films do what sitting in an audience can't do, which is make you appreciate like every little minute detail and all of the care that she obviously put into making this a massive, enormous experience.
Yeah, I mean, this is like all sort of stadium shows now have the giant screens behind, so the people in the nosebleed section can get a better sense of what's going on. But even those, I don't think, are going to convey to you what these cameras being that close give you. And like, she's almost never playing to them, which is smart. And like, I mean, on a craft level, this movie is absolutely on point and knows what it's doing, and like makes all the right choices in assembling all this footage.
There's a thing with the stage where it looks like she's diving into a pool, which again, like depending on where you were sitting in the audience, you might not be able to take in what that looks like, but it's like she's swimming underwater for the length of the stage. I'm like, whoa, that's cool. And that's what those cameras can give you.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently like the movie does leave out a lot of the costume changes, which were all pretty fast anyway. Like you get one where like everybody covers up with umbrellas and one guy dances, and then boom, it's a new outfit, but apparently she does that like the entire, like even if you were there no more than about 2.5 minutes, and bam, she's out in a new outfit. And
each little outfit has like a little pocket for her, like little mic pack, right? Yeah. Like that just takes time. Anyway, a pro. Okay, so I'm going to give it like a 9.2 maybe. Like I'm really impressed by this.
Wow. Okay. This is just weird for me as an outsider, because like ultimately like it did start to wear on me because I was watching it took me back to my first real job at the Dallas Times-Herald, where they made me a pop music critic, and I was thoroughly unqualified to be one. And I had to go to all these concerts of bands I knew nothing about. And it's sort of like, I'm enjoying the energy around me, and y'all are clearly digging this. So, I mean, I'll say an 8, I mean, because yes, it is absolutely well done. It wasn't for me, but I think the people for whom it is will really enjoy it.
Enjoy. Let us know if you're going to go see it. Come back and report on what you wore, etc. Have a blast.